Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. So, getting right into this, I'm finishing up Joe's last podcast with his friend and buddy, fellow comedian, Andrew Santino. He's been on Joe's podcast many times. They're buddies. Joe always has his friends on, and he is great. I'll tell you what, he's probably one of my favorite repeat guests of all of Joe. Like, they're all great. I mean, I like Greg Fitzsimmons. I think he's awesome. All the guys, Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer. Who are the other comedians? Tony Hinchcliffe, Brian Redband. All of them. They're fantastic. Not a huge fan of Brendan Schaub. I don't think he's funny at all. I think Brendan is a nice guy. I like him a lot. I thought he was a great fighter. Not a good comedian, and he can be a little annoying. I mean, you see online, like, some of the comments are pretty damn mean. I mean, Brendan is not a stand-up comedian. He's horrible. I don't. I'm not going to say I don't like him, because I do. I think he's a nice guy, and I think he's intelligent. It's just, he's friends with Joe, and I guess he wants to be like everyone else. Oh, and Brian Callen and all of them. So, all right. So, getting right into this. Andrew Santino. By the way, people who follow me know that I watch every single one of Joe's podcasts in its entirety, and very often I'll comment. I'll do a video of my own with some commentary. So, Andrew Santino. All right, this is interesting. Now, if you know Joe Rogan, he is basically a guy, when it comes to comedy, is anything goes. And his argument is strong. I get it. It's like, listen, we're comedians. You could say anything. You want to make fun of school shootings or anything, homosexuality, race. It's jokes. It's comedy. I think perhaps even George Carlin or many of the great comedians. It's like they're fundamentalists in that regard. Like, anything goes. And listen, it's just comedy. Like, we don't really mean it. I understand that, Joe. We all do. Intelligent, reasonable people. Now, I'm just going to play this and then I'll comment further. Okay? I understand the argument, but I'll explain afterwards. So here we go. Andrew Santino is going to talk about Louis C.K. Louis C.K. had a horrible joke. Like, this was after the masturbation thing, and he was banned or whatever. And he was on his way back, and then he made a comment about the last school shooting, was it, or something, where he said you push a fat kid in front of whatever. Let me play it and then I'll talk. Here we go. Andrew Santino, he is hilarious, Andrew. But here we go. They have good chemistry, Joe and Andrew. Ready?
Realize that the ones who've backed off, they're the ones who have like a deep sort of.
We're talking about woke culture and comedy
connection to the business.
Yeah.
The ones who are like really connected to the business, like they're executive producing sitcoms and they're a part of this and a part of that, they've backed off the wild shit.
Yep.
Well, because they know that it's a threat to them.
Exactly.
It's self-policing. And they'll still talk like that in the green room. They'll still make you laugh in the green room, but they're scared. Everyone's scared of getting called out now for jokes, which is just, I mean, I get that people haven't decided to make this distinction, but there's a giant distinction between someone talking about something because this is their actual feelings on something, and someone saying ridiculous shit that they don't really believe because it's funny.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
When you stop,
I'll talk afterwards.
Way, as soon as you try to step that for yourself, or if you're trying to get someone else to stop it, what you're really doing is you're enforcing a particular, very narrow band of behavior.
Right.
And if you get stuck in that narrow band of behavior, like, it's real hard to see outside of it. It's real hard to see that this is ridiculous.
Right.
And as a comic, when you see comics getting mad that other comics are touching on certain subjects or using certain language, it's like, oh, like, you're missing the whole thing. You missed the whole thing.
That's a mole. I feel like that's a mole inside of the operation. When someone's like, I don't like when he does that stuff, and you're like, oh no,
I can't believe you're still saying bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Do you know the depth of what that word means for people? You know what that does?
That's my favorite.
Do you know what that does?
Please tell me, chubby white guy. Please tell me.
Well, that's like, there was a dude. There's a guy who had a great tweet. I don't want to say his name because
I'm playing a little more than I wanted to, but whatever. This is good.
He basically had a tweet, and he got a lot of backlash from the community because he was like, all these East Side comics that used to shit on the Comedy Store for a lack of quote unquote diversity, they're the same people. And he's an East Side guy. He goes, as one, I'm saying these are the same guys that get, that pay no mind to the fact that we're living in a gentrified, used to be Mexican neighborhood, and our audiences are all fucking white dudes with beards that look the same. And he got a lot of shit, but I was like, yeah, fuck. And I hit him up, and I was like, yeah, you're right though. Like, this old idea that the store used to be it's just a bro hangout, and it's all there is. It's like, dude, that line. There's so many different kinds of people on that lineup, way more than you see when you go to other shows.
The only people that say that are the people that can't work there. It's
well,
very simple.
Yeah, it's jealousy. Yeah,
it's 100% jealousy.
People are mad. Yeah.
I mean, there's people that think that maybe there's a style that you see at the Comedy Store that they don't appreciate. That's okay, but the styles, it varies so much from Jeselnik to D'Elia to you to Hinchcliffe to Diaz.
I mean,
to Owen Smith,
Sklar brother. Yeah. You're talking about people that this is all
very
over
funny
the
guys.
Map.
So that
it's all
list.
over the map. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I think that's why I love the
Laura
tweet.
Beats. Or Ali Makovsky, or there's so
They're
many
terrific,
different sort of styles of comedy out of that place now.
Right.
You can't say it's all bros. That's nonsense. But it's just good comics.
That was the old way, which I'm glad he was being. He was like, no, these people are just like free thinking, pushing out new, weird, fucked up, sometimes challenging shit because the store supports it. Like that's all it is. It's like now we finally have a place where it's like you could say it there.
There's no freedom in suppressing people's ability to express themselves. You just create an environment where everybody's scared to be themselves, or everybody's scared to take chances.
Right.
If you're scared to take chances, if you don't push the boundaries, you don't find out where they are. You create your own boundaries. Like when you're doing material and you're trying to come up with a bit, sometimes a bit in the beginning is highly offensive, but then you turn it into something that's everybody accepts and it's great.
Right.
This was the real argument for Louis C.K. when Louis C.K. Had a recording of his leaked. And there was a bit where he was talking about these kids who were survivors of school shootings. He's like, you're not interesting just because you push some fat kid in the way. Like, and you're laughing. See, he got a lot of shit for that. And people were saying it like it's cruel. And other comics said it was hacky. And there's like, first of all, he hadn't done comedy in 10 months. Second of all,
Actually, Joe here is making another point where you work at a joke where it could be highly offensive, as he says, and then you work on it. And it becomes less offensive and good. But perhaps I'm talking about Joe in the past. He said, I'm a comedian. I don't give a shit what you say. I know you don't believe this. I know Louis C.K. doesn't truly believe this, or any of these comics. They're all good guys. We all know that, or most of them are. So perhaps that wasn't a great video clip example. It was good anyway. I'm glad I played it. But here, let me just explain the problem with, let's just say, you adopt Joe's attitude about. So I'm sorry that he said he was making another point, but I know Joe feels this way. He says, I'm a comedian, and if you say racist shit or sexist shit or funny, I don't know, making fun of trans people, whatever, we know that they don't really feel that way or whatever. It's a joke. That's what we do for a living, right? So I do understand that, and reasonable, intelligent people do. But there are a couple of things to keep in mind. There are some people who are not reasonable or intelligent, like most. I'm not going to say most people, but a lot of people. And there's something else. The real point I wanted to make is a general feeling or trend when it becomes normalized, or we have this sort of, if you want to say, cavalier attitude, or perhaps hateful, like you've been hearing a lot in the news with Trump, where he's normalizing this sort of behavior, this racism and sexism and misogyny and this jingoistic, chauvinistic nationalism. All this stuff becomes normalized. So you got to be a little bit careful there. You can't just be saying, N-word, faggot, all that stuff, and throw, jokes about kids shooting themselves or whatever. So, okay. On that note, good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. Peace, love, and understanding here on Table Talk.